Hey everybody, welcome to BS for Build, YouTube's favorite automotive television show that works on a 240Z in my shed. Narrow the scope a little bit there. In today's episode, we're going to be painting the body panels inside and outside. At least I really hope so. And Eric is going to be working on the car. We're going to raise the back end up a little bit so it moves, so it's not laying on the ground anymore. We're going to weld some holes shut, and then Eric's going to pull the whole engine out. Prepare it for paint. That's what's in store. Stay tuned. On the edge of your seat, hold your breath. Count backwards from 10. Before we get down to work, I want to take a second out to thank our sponsor. This episode is proudly sponsored by Squarespace. If you're making a big move in your life and you want to show the world, if you're starting a new business, if you're opening a new restaurant, you're doing something, if you want to show the world, you need a great website, and Squarespace is the place to do that. They have beautiful award-winning designer templates that make your website look professional and clean. They are cross-browser compatible, so you can view them on your phone or on your computer, on Mac, on Windows. You don't even have to worry about any of that stuff. It is super easy to use. If you can drag and drop, basically I like to say if you can write an email, you can drag and drop pictures, you can build your website with Squarespace. It's so easy to use that I switched my mom's company website from a website that I built myself over to Squarespace, and now she manages all that herself. We just launched a game, D is for Drift, and I built our website using Squarespace as well. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that you access through your web browser, so there's nothing to install, you never need to upgrade or patch anything. They handle all that stuff for you, and if you ever get stuck, they have award-winning 24/7 customer service. So if you're ready to make your big move and you want to share it with the world, go to squarespace.com/BSforBuild or hit the link in the description and you will get a free trial plus 10% off your first purchase. I use this, I saved myself a lot of money. That 10% off goes a long way. It's pretty awesome. Huge thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode. Let's get down to work. Eric's gonna get started on the back end of the car over here. He's gonna pop the wheel off and start working on waterproofing our wheel arch. So we've seam sealed everything on the kind of further inside, but you still have the division of the inner skin of the wheel well and the outer skin. So anytime we do a wide body, we cut through both of those, and you gotta come back and waterproof that some way, or else water will just fly into your car coming off your tire right here. So we're gonna cut a strip of metal, tack weld it in, and then we will seam seal it, and then we will paint it so it'll be completely weatherproofed. Also, he's gonna go ahead and weld all the holes on the thing from the old Rocket Bunny kit. We're gonna weld all those shut. Back in here, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up where we left off. So our body filler has dried up, so I'm gonna go ahead and sand this down flush. And if I sand that correctly and don't make any mistakes, this panel will basically be ready for one more little once over, and then I could completely set that aside, and that'll be ready for paint. That one came out good. That one needed a little glazing putty to even out a couple pits. I'm gonna jump over to the hood now and do that spot. The hood turned out great. That was super easy. So now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the fender and the headlight bucket. I gotta detach the headlight bucket from the fender because there's some stuff in that crack that I wanna clean up. Going all the way, all the little details for SEMA. And then we're gonna clean up the fender as well. Bad news, we got to the very end, we sanded all the rest of it. The fender looked great, and then we got to here and I noticed that we were getting into some body filler and it had some deep cracks in it, which is a sign of somebody putting it on too thick. And then I started digging at it with the screwdriver, and there's a hole here, way too big a buildup here, and some more stuff here. So I'm gonna get the wire wheel and I'm gonna have to blast all this body filler out, and then we can fiberglass over it. Eric's about halfway done with welding in the inner, closing in this gap, I should say. So we're gonna do tacks around here. He's gonna go ahead and clean up around there, and then tacks on the inside, and one more strip down here, and seam sealer all around, and that'll seal it all the way up. And you can see that all the holes well, they're gone now. All these holes are gone. Well, this sucks. The rust is a lot worse than it looked. If you have a massive hole in your car like this, you cannot just fill it with a 1/2 inch of body filler. It doesn't work. It cracks, and the rust will continue to work its way through, and the paint will bubble up. And you'll see all the problems that we saw here. So I cut into good metal all the way around. We're gonna use this as a template, cut a new piece of sheet metal out. Gotta place it in here, weld it into here, and then body fill all the cracks and the crevices and everything. And hopefully we can be back up and running without wasting too much time. But this is a bummer. If I would have known about this ahead of time, I would have definitely just bought a new fender. Okay, I got my patch cut and welded in here. The next step I'm gonna do is fiberglass over all of this and even this spot here, because it's just a little bit lower than the rest of the surface. So good coating of fiberglass over this, fiberglass body filler. It's, there's some, discussion in the comments, but it's waterproof, so it'll hold rust out. The parts that go through the holes and everything like that, it'll be completely fine. It won't like start rusting from the back. We need to spray something on the back of this though, so it doesn't rust from the back. But anyways, so then fiberglass over that. And Eric just wrapped up over here on the wheel arch. Just finished sealing in the wheel arch, and then seam sealer from the back side of it, which you can barely see, but seam sealer in there. So that wheel arch is completely sealed up, and he's gonna go ahead and throw the strut back in there, the wheel on there, we'll lower it down, head over to the other side, and start to do the same thing on the other side. That came out pretty good, but it's gonna take a second to dry before we can sand on it. So I'm gonna put that aside, and next I'm gonna move on to the headlight buckets. All right, the bucket is almost ready. The backside is all good. That's been prepared and painted black, and the main part of it is all good. All been sanded down. Only problem was where it's brown right here, we had a little bit of rust and a little bit of pitting. So we need to sand this down one more time. A little bit of body filler over those spots where we had pitting, and then we can go ahead and primer over it, and it'll be all good. Let's go check in with Eric and see how he's doing. Eric just wrapped up welding the other side. This one came out a little bit better, so we're learning as we progress. It looks really good. We're able to use a little bit thinner sheet metal, which is something to remember for the future. And the gap is a little bit different sized because of the angle that I put the saw in here. So that's something to keep in mind as well next time we do a wide body job. So the next thing he's got to do is cut out a little piece of sheet metal that goes right back here, because I can actually stick my hand through here, so it goes up through here. Then he'll weld that in and seam seal the whole thing up. And then, oh, and he also did these guys. Eric's really good at doing that stuff. I think I'm gonna have him do that on the doors so I don't risk messing anything up. And then once it's seam sealed, that's gonna be all sealed up and good to go. While Eric is wrapping up that quarter panel, I'm gonna jump into our last large panel that needs sanding, which is our rear hatch. So the rear hatch on the back side needs the gloss black. On the top side, it needs the primer and then the wrap. The one weird thing is that molding that runs around that glass is supposed to get replaced with one that doesn't hold trim. I bought special molding that doesn't have the chrome trim. Weird though, because we're covering it all with window louvers anyways. So if we start to run low on time for any reason on the build, that's gonna be one of the lowest priorities, even though that's not something that we do, that's something a glass installer does. So it's a really bizarre situation I'm in, but I'm gonna try not to scuff it just in case. Here we go. Sanding went okay, but this panel is just kind of like the rest of them. There's some danger spots, so we're gonna go ahead and there's a hole right there for some reason, so we need a little body filler right there. There's a low spot. It looks like somebody opened this door into something and it actually kind of bent the metal down a little bit right there. So we're gonna have a layer of body filler over that. Little rust area right there that I ground all the rust out of, but just a little bit there, and then some here for a little bit of pitting and stuff like that, maybe a little bit right there. Very, very light coats, but a couple spots. We'll mix that up and get that done right now. All right, we got a really thin layer of body filler on all those areas. Let's go see what Eric's been up to. Eric did a great job seam sealing this up. Looks good. Looks, you know, like it does when we seam seal things. And I don't think we're gonna be able to see the backside of it. Can we see that? Oh yeah, you can see a little bit of that back piece. So with that done, that thing's all the way sealed in. Next up, we're gonna weld some of the holes in our body panels. All right, so we had Eric spot weld and sand down all of our holes in all of our panels. So the door, all done. That door is done. We did the mirror section, completely shaved. And yes, that means the mirrors on the 240Z go on the fender like they should on a 240Z. One of the main reasons I bought one. So that's good. Couple holes over there, that's done. I already pointed at that, Anyways, okay, so now it's my turn to put in some work. I gotta do body filler over all of these things. So I normally have a nice piece of, it's like a piece of wood with a million sheets of paper on top that you lay body filler on, you mix it up, and then when you're done, you rip a sheet of paper off. I don't have that anymore. I lost it during the Mercedes build. So I got a bunch of pieces of cardboard. I'm probably gonna have to cut a lot more, and I'm gonna go ahead and do all the body filler on every single one of these panels that needs it right now. On this fender in particular, fill, forget about it. Fill, fiberglass. Fender's done, headlight bucket's next. This needs to be sanded back and then body filled. Bucket's done. I'm gonna jump over to this fender, mix up one big batch and do there, and then bring over the door and do there, and there. All those theres. Door's finished, on to the final stretch. The orange door. It's the last piece that needs body filler. All right, with that rounded body filler, the orange door is done. All the panels are done. I've created quite a mess. All right, well, all these panels dry up. I'm gonna go home and go to sleep. It is midnight. We clearly did not get to painting today. This took a little bit longer than we thought it would, but I'll paint them tomorrow. And we're only 1 day behind schedule, so we'll find a way to make it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Huge thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode. Guys, if you want to give it a try, click the link in the description. You'll get a free trial and 10% off your first purchase. And if you want to help out and support BS for Build, head over to bsforbuild.com. Grab yourself a new hat. They're shipping the day you order them. They ship right to you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace!